I know Starlight's a big week for you guys.
Yep.
What's the prep been like on and off the field?
Oh, yeah. We'll try to compartmentalize it. Like all the times you have some of these things on, like it's a really important moment for the club and players are really invested in it. So been trying to, prepare for our footy because it's the most important thing on the weekend. But obviously it's a big day for the club and like I said, like a lot of our players are ambassadors and our fans get right behind it. So. We had the kids in yesterday with their families and got them around training, and the players, men's and women's, went up and had lunch with them. They really embrace them coming down to the club and try and make it as enjoyable as we can, and understand, it's a significant week of the year for us, and we raise a lot of money and have done so for many years. So, it's special, but we've got to get the job done on the field.
How much have you gone to school on the way St Kilda played the midfield with Andy and Caleb specifically last time, and how they're able to shut them down and dominate the clearances as a result?
Yeah, I was one aspect of the game. Yeah, and we've looked back on that game from an X's and O's and preparation point of view and making sure we're ready if they go back to some of those things. Largely we've looked forward and taken the lessons out of that game because there was more lessons that we learnt out of that game than just those two getting tagged. Feel like other teams have gone to that. Port Adelaide tried to tag both of those players and we were able to work our way through that. So we've grown as a team and we've tried to look forward as much as we can, but understand that some of those plans that worked on that night they might go back to.
So is it more that you learnt lessons straight away rather than having to go back and check them out now?
We feel like probably the message from early in the season, not just that game, but our form and a bit of a clunkiness at the start of the year is they actually succeed because of those lessons you learn, not in spite of them. Not this week we haven't gone, we owe St Kilda one, or we've just focused forward and tried to understand the plan against us last time, but we feel like we're better prepared for the X's and O's. But the other part of it is that which is a bigger part of it, is we tried to fight our own battles that night, and it wasn't just those two. It was, as a team, we became insular. Communication went out the door. Frustration was evident. We didn't problem solve. Communication dropped. All those type of things that we feel, you probably don't see it as much on the TV screen. You probably focus at the game more on the X's and O's, but some of the things around that in terms of leadership, trademark footy, the mindset you bring to a game, those sorts of things that we've taken out of that period, we've got a lot better at and built on, and we'll be looking to do the same.
What do you make of Marcus Windhager's role on Nick Dacos last week? It's obviously been spoken about a lot. Is that something that you feel well prepared for, particularly that kind of off the ball stuff, if it comes your way?
Oh I find it staggering at times that one matchup gets blown out of the water. Tagging goes on in most games, most weeks. Windhager's been doing it for 2 or 3 years, week in, week out. Our players have been tagged multiple times this year. We tagged Merritt last time we were out. So, it goes on a lot. It's part of our game. We embrace it, understand, sometimes the tag wins, sometimes it doesn't. Understand what the guys that receive tags understand the levers that they can pull. We understand as a team we need to make sure we support those players. But, it's part of the game. It goes on every week in most games.
How's Alex Pearce tracking after training yesterday?
He's tracking in the right direction. He obviously is not getting up for this game, but like I said during the week, he's touch and go for this week, and it's looking good for next week. Not going to say certainty, but looking good for this next week.
Have you had to be? Has there anything changed since the injury around how you've looked at him from a building perspective and the timeline stuff due to the careful nature of not breaking him down again?
With the injury, it's one of those ones where it's KPI driven. So you can't necessarily say. Sometimes with a hammy, you go get a scan, you get it graded. It's a 3-week hammy or a 2-week hammy, whatever. But with injuries like this, it depends on where it is in the leg, and it's just KPI driven. So we were hoping it was going to be a little bit quicker to start with, but he had a little bit of soreness early on, and that just pushed it back a little bit. But every KPI he's had to tick the last week and a half. He's ticked it with flying colours, and he's heading in the right direction.
On Sean Darcy, firstly, is he definitely in the 23? And given that he's been such a strong number one ruck in his own right in recent times, how happy is he at the moment being that kind of horses for courses player?
He was out of the team because it was a 5-day break against Essendon, so he'll come back in, and we'll assume the same sort of setup we did against Gold Coast and North Melbourne, which we thought gave us good success, gives us a bit of a different look, changes Luke's role around a little bit, but allows him to play to his strengths. And while Sean's building form, he's happy to play whatever role the team asks of him. And he cops a little bit of lower game time, but it's probably going to be the new way for him as well in some respects, and that's probably more to his more about his body than anything. Like he's been injured a lot. When we've played him 90-95% in the ruck, which is a demanding position, and we need to make sure that we look after him and his availability as much as Jacko.
Does that mean we see Luke in that sort of ruck rover role a fair bit again this week, and how much?
He'll play forward a little bit, like he has the last couple of games. We've played both of them, and he'll play a little bit in midfield. So, he's enjoying the challenge of learning a bit more midfield craft, and I'm excited to see where we can take it.
How much experimentation is still going on with the way you use those two and what they're doing when they're not the ruckman? Because it feels like it's changed multiple times throughout the year. Do you know what it looks like yet?
We have a plan going into the game, but we like to adjust as well. So set plan doesn't really change and hasn't changed since we've had them both in the team. Whoever's gone better against a certain ruck at a certain time might get a little bit more ruck time as the game unfolds. We feel like Luke's done a good job in the midfield or forward, or we'd leave him there. So it we feel like it gives us plenty of levers to pull, but every week's going to look slightly different.
How did Sonny pull up coming to the okay?
I saw. He's just regressed a little bit, so probably the way we described it, or the way he described it to me, he took 2 steps forward to play a game last week, and it's probably just taken a step back. He's got a little bit of soreness in that knee again. Don't think it'll cost him any more than the 1 week, so he's not going to play for Peel this week. But I feel like it's trending in the right direction. Might just miss 1 week and get him back next week.
Do you worry him that he can't get that 2 steps forward and not the 1 step back all the time?
It's not ideal because he's missed a lot of footy. So to get some continuity in his game and keep him building his game time would be ideal. But it is what it is. Like I said, don't think it's too serious. I think it might just be a 1 weeker. Might be just his body adapting to the heavier load. So hopefully get him back next week and we continue that build.
And where do you sit with Nat at the moment? Are we likely to see him as a sub, or are we likely to see him as a full game? What's your thoughts?
See that Sunday. Can't give away everything. He's a bit like Sonny, right? Like he's been out of footy for a while. He got some games in the waffle early in the year, but then missed another period of time. So he's building as well. Very rarely do people come in and players come in and off longer term injuries, and they pick it up where they left off and hit their best form in the first week they play. So whether it's Brandon Walker who's come back through Peel, when Youngie comes back, all long term injuries, it'll take a little bit of time to get to their best. So I think clubland and coaches and the high performance staff are aware of that. It's just I think sometimes the media feel like they have to, and fans probably assume that player has to be at their best first game back, and it just doesn't happen that way. And you look across the league, it doesn't happen that way.
You're getting options available to you again, which must be nice. But do you know what in your own head what you think your best 22-23 looks like, or do you still need to see a lot of these guys out there together to be able to work that out at the moment?
I think I'm not sure there's there's such a thing as best 22. I feel like players are competing for certain roles across the ground all the time, and there's not much difference between some roles and some players, and some calls are 50-50, and it's not, that's your best 22. So, having said that, I feel like we're on the brink of getting some numbers back and having some of those real tough calls to make, which we probably had in the last couple of weeks. So that's a good thing. But as long as all the players are in good form and playing their roles and ready for the opportunity.
It's a different sort of pressure, it's the selection pressure compared to just win-loss pressure. How do you handle it with guys when they know there's pressure coming from underneath?
It's the same as all distractions. Some players get caught up in selection, some players get caught up in form and scoreboard, and all these players are dealing with that week in, week out. It's just another one. I just need to, it's pretty boring, but stick to the process and get back to actually what helps them, or what's important within their role, and focus on the right things. And that's the same for every player every week. And it's the same for the players outside the team trying to get into the team. So, like I said, it's a good place to be. But there's ways we need to deal with that as well.
Just on Dudley, obviously had been impressive at AFL level and maybe through no fault of his own on the outer a little bit. Is that teaching him to sort of just bang the door down a little bit?
A little bit. He went out. He didn't get dropped. He went out of the team for personal reasons and was away from the club for a bit over 2 weeks. So we just thought it was best for him and best for the team at the time for him to work his way with a couple of games at Peel. So he'll come back into the team this week. His form has been good at Peel. Last week was a tricky game given the conditions for a small forward, but he's done everything right since he's got back at the club, and deserves his opportunity back in.